Welcome to the UKOCR Community Podcast, presented by Obstacle Racing Media. Each episode, we'll be talking to race directors, elite runners, weekend warriors, and frankly, anyone else from the UKOCR scene that will talk to us. Here is your host, Alan, aka Muddy Duck.
Anywhere in Chicken Town. The bloody scene is bloody sad. The bloody news is bloody bad.
Greetings, friends, acquaintances, and anyone else just has some business to be listening. Welcome to another edition of the UKOCR podcast with me, Alan, aka Muddy Duck. Yes, I am back for quite a while now, coming through the winter series. It's the off season, so as you know, I have to just start working again for everyone. So yeah, more and more interviews. If you listen to this on Monday, the website should be up and running. Really hope it is. UKOCR.com. Check it out. Got as much on there as we can get at the moment. We're going to be putting lots and lots of stuff on there recently as press releases come out. All those press releases will come on that. And the best thing is you can share direct from it. So you can just click button, share onto Facebook without us having to do lots and lots of posts. It's going to make us and our jobs much, much more easy to get the news to you guys out there. Who am I back with this week? I'm back with B Wood, which is quite apt because we recorded this, and I think I mentioned this in the podcast. I recorded this before she was nominated for the OCR Buddy Awards, which reminds me, coming up is the UK OCR Awards, so don't forget to jump on that as well and get your nominations in. But yeah, I planned this well before, and then it came out the day as we recorded this, so yeah, it was quite a fitting one. So yeah, me and B Wood back for I think a second time. I think this is her second time on the podcast. There's only a few people who've been more on it than her. But yeah, here she is. We talk about adaptive athletes, about wheelchairs, and I set her a challenge a little bit further into the call, which is quite good. But before that, let's have a little bit word from today's sponsor.
This podcast is brought to you in partnership with Builder Sport, the world's strongest hydration, which is recommended and used by world-renowned athlete Hunter McIntyre. They don't just do hydration though, but supplements too. So check them out at builderinternational.com. That's BLDRinternational.com. You can even save 10% by using code UKHXR. As always, we're not going to partner with a product that we don't use ourselves. So yes, we do use Builder on those long training runs, and we can confirm it's amazing.
B, welcome back. I think you are probably only my third guest to ever come back on the UKOCR podcast. Welcome back. How are you?
You amazing. I'm overwhelmed at the minute. Life is a bit mental in the OCR world for me at the minute. Even though we're off season, crazy things are happening, and it's amazing. When you invited me back, I was overwhelmed. Like, wow, thank you. It's an honor, and I mean that because you and Ian said some really kind things on the Swift Half a couple of episodes about me, and I was driving down the M180 listening to it, crying my eyes out, because life doesn't always treat me that well, being different, being trans, in a wheelchair, having Tourette's. I get a lot of dirty looks and things out and about, so when you hear such kindness, it's overwhelming. So then to be invited back as well is beyond an honor. So just thank you to you and Ian.
Oh, no, you're more than welcome. What people don't know is that me and you talk quite a lot through text messages and things like that. You've got my number and you ring me sometimes and we have a little chat and things like that, don't we? And like we try and grab sort of 15, 20 minutes here and there where we chat about stuff. So people don't always get to see that behind the scenes and that. So it's always good. But you're right. I mean, like, the OCR world at this moment in time is in love with you. Forget about just me and Ian being in love with you. Today, as we record this, it came out last night. You are on the OCR Buddy shortlist. You've made it to the voting stages of the OCR Buddy 2023 awards.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, honor doesn't come close. I was sat at home having, a pretty miserable day, if I'm honest. It might not sound a lot to the outside world, but I had a tooth out. Now, that's not a big deal, but When you've got Tourette's, it is because you want to rest your jaw.
Yeah.
I had a tooth out because one of my tics, particularly in my sleep and stuff, is biting and teeth grinding, and I've damaged my teeth that much from ticking involuntary. It's done damage. Well, when you have a tooth out and you can't stop ticking and teeth grinding, it doesn't let it heal properly. It's a cycle.
Right.
That on top of seeing posts in different groups about how running can improve your mental health, and one run leads to another run can change your life when I'm incapable of running, these little things started to grind me down mentally, because I was honestly, it's a very negative feeling, craving your legs back when you can't walk. The hardest thing when you're in a wheelchair is accepting your new life. I'm still a baby to that in a way, because I'm only 2 years in, and some of the people I know when I go to experience community adaptive mountain biking are 10, 15 years in, and they say 2 years is nothing for acceptance. And they've all said the same thing. Craving your legs back is the worst thing you can do, because you're craving something that isn't healthy. The healthy thing is to accept that your life is now on wheels, but you've got to look at the things you can do on wheels as opposed to things you can't do because you're not walking. And that's the mindset I tried to get myself in. And then out of nowhere, Shell, my mother mum, messages me. Woo! She messages me saying, B, I've got something exciting to tell you. Be prepared to be excited or something. And I'm like, okay. You've got to come on with it then. Come on. ADHD kicking in. And she sends me a screenshot of the Buddy Awards and my name as female adaptive athlete of the year or something. I'm like, what? Number one, female adaptive athlete of the year, being a trans female, is beyond validation and acceptance for myself and in the community that I'm seen as the female that I am and should have been, as opposed to, how I grew up.
Yep.
But secondly, being the final three in that category as an adaptive athlete is like, whoa, hang on a minute, put the brakes on. This is mental. To have my name read out by Giles at World's Toughest Award ceremony, even though I didn't win the award, that didn't matter to me as much, because there was some amazing achievements that night and I didn't feel worthy of even having my name read out. But when Giles said, a really strong nomination to B and her team from Yorkshire, I was in pieces. I was like, did that just really happen? And then for this to happen is, I don't know who put me forward. I don't know whether it's one person, 10 people, 20 people. I don't know how many people are going to vote for me or the others. All I know is whoever has, I am eternally grateful for. Because if I do win, which I don't know, I've got 1 in 3 chance, but I don't know if I will or I won't. But if the impossible happens and I do win, there's going to be a hell of a social media post, because that award is not for me. I don't see it as for me. I see it as the teams that get me round, the teams that support me, because I couldn't volunteer without support. I couldn't do a Tough Mudder. I wouldn't even get off the start line without a team pulling me. Doing Mudderhorn, we're the first team in Europe to ever do it from a wheelchair. And that moment would have never happened without an army of people that never gave up. So everything I do is not possible without the people around me. And so it's more than just me. When I see my name on there, I don't see it as my name. I see it as the community that is part of helping me achieve what I do, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, we organised this podcast before we even knew about this award coming out and you being nominated for it. Because we want to talk about other stuff. I want to talk about other stuff, which we'll come to shortly. But I know exactly where you're coming from when you say it's the team that's behind you.
Yeah.
But every team has got to have a figurehead, and you are currently figurehead of Team B. It's the team works for you. You're there.
You're not in charge of it, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. There's a lot of other people in charge. You're doing what you're told.
Yeah, I mean, Shell struggles to accept it, but I always say she is the leader of my team. Shell is the one that got a team together for me. Shell is the one that advocates for me when, we had a bit of an incident at Arctic Enema, where the water safety guy was trying to pull me out sidewards, and the containers are metal containers with lips around the sides.
Yeah.
My ribs were dragging up the side, and I said, "That hurts. I'm hurting. I'm hurting." And he wasn't listening. Shell screamed at him, "Let her go. Drop her. You are hurting her." And he dropped me. And then she said, "Right, we're going to pull her out the front." She's the one at Mudderhorn. When I was holding on and I said, "I can't hold on any longer," she just said, "B, trust us. We're not going to let you go. You can let go." Because half an hour holding on is a lot for anyone. And I was only 10 minutes in and my arms were too tired. And I trusted her to let go. And I didn't move, which was incredible. And I'll bring up sort of next year later, because there's something incredible like that, something else she's done that's incredible. But she's the one also that's putting the ADHD brakes on me. Like when I say, "Let's do nuclear," she says, "Let me do it first and recce it. Let me see how many people we need. We'll have you in your harness, but how many extra things we need to get you around certain things and what we need to prepare for." My ADHD brain saying, "Let's get a team, rock up and just see what happens." But she's doing it. She's doing it the more sensible way of, "I'll do it, then I'll come back and then we'll get the right team together and we'll do it properly. So you've got a chance at everything rather than just what we can do on the day." She's the sensible one that also puts everything together. She's definitely the leader of Team B by a mile.
She's the mum, like you say. She's the mum. She's the one that organises everything and puts everyone in line, doesn't she?
She is. She when I said to her, "You're literally like my mum in this world. In fact, you're like my mother mum." And she was honoured that I saw her like that, because she knows my upbringing in the care system. She knows about how my adoption went. She knows about the period of my life where I was homeless. Because I've bounced back from a place of drugs and homelessness. I'm proud to be 5 years clean. I'm proud to be where I am now. But she knows about pretty much all of my life, and yet she still accepts me, keeps me safe, puts realistic expectations on what I can and can't do, encourages me to do mental things. And yeah, she is like mum. And the title I have for her, which is Mudder Mum, which she accepted with an honour, means so much more than just a mud name. It's like that in life as well, because we live quite close, we see each other a lot, and if I was to be reborn and I didn't have any parents, I would gladly choose her to be my mum and bring me up. That's how much she means to me.
Yeah, I get that. I'm also lost my train of thoughts then, because that was so emotional. I'm going to go back to my train of thoughts now. You touched on 2 minutes ago about having ADHD and things like that, and I know you've got it and stuff like that. You've fast become well known in the community, not just Tough Mudder community, but OCR community. People love you. That Will's come up and seen you and things like that. And you've looked at people and thought you'd never get to meet them, because I guess in the community, I want to say semi-famous, because that's probably the better word. They're not famous. They're semi-famous. They're well known in the community. And you've looked up to certain people and that. You thought, "Oh gosh, I'd never meet them." But you've also embraced the community. Do you think that's your ADHD? Because I know I suffer from a little bit of it. Well, I suffer from OCD. I've got, my cupboards have got to be perfect. So I suffer a little bit from organisation things and that. Although sometimes you won't think it. But is it your ADHD that's led you to make? You haven't done it consciously. I know you haven't done it consciously. You've done it subconsciously, but you've made yourself well known.
I don't know how. I genuinely, Alan. Being autistic, I communicate quite well, as you know. But what people don't see is the sensory issues I have, the food textures I have, the need for routine, the need for planning. I'm trying to plan 2024 now, but my team aren't ready to. And that's kind of my need for routine and planning versus a neurotypical world that does things, haven't made plans for that yet, for travel, for, what I'm doing, what work's doing, and what holidays I'm having. I have this desire to fit in, and I always have through my whole life. And being so different, it doesn't matter which difference you pick on, whether it be neurodiversity, whether it be being in a wheelchair, whether it be being trans, whether it be having Tourette's, but one of the more complex end of the Tourettic community. My tics are quite in your face, quite loud, quite obvious. All that put together means I don't really fit many places in life. I'm always the different one. And the way the community has taken me in as one of their own, particularly like Team Crab Hats, they've played a huge part in all this. UKOCR, the way you've had me on and embraced me and become my friend. Little things like that has just naturally made me feel welcome and equal. Mm-hmm. And there's things I've noticed in the community that I know could be. There's ways that I can suggest little things that could make a big change for certain communities, and I've wanted to find a voice in the community to change those things for others. And I think naturally it's just happened, but I still don't feel like I'm in the OCR community yet. And I know that sounds daft. I'm definitely part of Team Crab Hats, but the OCR world, I don't know many people yet. I know a lot of names, but I've barely met them. I haven't experienced different races yet. I haven't experienced different parts of the community yet. And I feel like I've got a long way to go before I'm part of the community where I want to be. I'm not embedded into it yet, or at least I might be. I know from other people's perceptions, I'm definitely part of the community and I'm whatever. But for me, I just feel like little old me that hasn't made any impact yet. But I know the reality is that's not the case. I don't know if it's imposter syndrome. I don't know what it is. All I know is I am internally grateful to every single person that's accepted me and embraced me for me. I genuinely just can't thank everybody enough, because this feels like my future now. Before, my future was things like biking, swimming, triathlon. Then all this happened, and I didn't think I had a future in sport. Mainly because of things like trans bans. I mean, trans is so political. I don't want it to be political. I just want to live as me and be me happily. But the government and the world seem to be debating our lives every day, and the media are chewing us up. And I can escape into this world of OCR where none of that matters. All that matters is people helping people and people helping people achieve. And I never thought I'd have that again in life. And OCR has given me that back.
Yeah, I get that. We see it in very much other sports. There's a whole, I don't think people know what to do. My honest opinion is I don't think the world knows what to do. The world's changed. The world's changed so dramatically. In 100 years ago, all you had was men and women. Yeah. That was the case, right or wrong. That was the case 100 years ago, and now we're going down the whole. We've got transgender. We've got people who associate themselves with something completely different. X, Y, and it's their own right to do that. And everything else, but the sports world doesn't know what to do, because you've got people like is it Caster the athlete's name, who creates too much testosterone. She was born female with female genitalia, and she's 100% female in that instance, but she's not allowed to run in female races because her body creates too much testosterone. But then in the same sentence, we have got transgender that have gone into athletics and things like that, and they are allowed to run because they're not creating testosterone. I don't think that the whole, and I don't know what's right and I don't know what's wrong, and I'm not going to even debate that, but people just don't know what to do.
I think triathlon got it right. Triathlon have got a male and a female category. If you are trans, or if you are, not quite age group or whatever it is, they have an open category. The open category is not just for trans, it's for anybody that doesn't want that competitive side but still wants to earn a medal and have the race time. That's inclusion in sport without it affecting elite racing. That means if my legs work properly and I wanted to go back to triathlon, I could do it in a safe and inclusive way without anybody saying you're taking away from a female because as a trans female you have a bigger lung capacity or whatever they want to say. It still means I get inclusion. Yeah. And I don't think in sport everybody needs to chase elite status, because sport isn't just about competition. Sport is about enjoyment. Sport is about teams working together. It's about a mental escape from the world. It's about pushing yourself to achieve. That doesn't have to mean elite status. That can mean competing in an open category. I think every sport needs to have its own things. I mean, if Mike Tyson decided, or the Gypsy King, what's his name? Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury, yeah.
Yeah, decided tomorrow I'm going to transition to be a woman and be a female boxer, we'd have issues. That is the extreme side. And that's where there has to be a line drawn in what's right and what's realistic and what isn't. But a trans female that was on puberty blockers, so they never went through, male puberty. They transitioned after 18 with everything else. They have no real advantage over someone born naturally female. So they can't, I don't agree with the blanket bans. I just think there needs to be something where there's open categories. I don't think there should be trans categories. I think there should be open categories. And then there should be the age group and the elite.
Yeah.
That keeps sport inclusive for all, but it also means until things are worked out, there is no unfair advantage. But it means everyone's included. And for me, it's all about inclusion. It's not about special treatment, unfair advantage. And that's coming from somebody who's trans. My belief is just everybody should be able to access sport. It just doesn't need to be taken to the extreme until things are worked out. So I don't agree with the way the blanket bans have gone, because it's really creating too much stigma. But at the same time, my voice isn't loud enough. My voice isn't loud enough. But yeah, the OCR community is special in that respect, because it's not a recognised sport yet, and I hope it will be. But my fear going forward is what's going to happen with people like me going forward. I really hope they won't do a blanket ban on trans. I don't think they would. I would hope there would be, just take Worlds, for example. You've got black bibs for elite, you've got orange for age group, and then you've got the white bibs for open. Still allow trans to compete, but just in the open. Maybe not in the age group, or if it is in the age group, then maybe have an open category within the age group. It's not difficult to do. But I just hope that OCR start that way and don't, go to any extremes. But OCR has saved me from a world full of bans and, something I can be in where I'm accepted as me, as be the woman.
I think it saved a lot of people. I know it saved me, and I've openly said this. I was 22, 23 stone when I found OCR. I was seriously overweight, seriously drinking, and it saved me from going right down that route of, alcoholism. I will turn around and say I wasn't far away from it, and it saved me, and it saved my life and turned me around. And it's great that OCR can do that we don't, you can go to an event and you can see everyone from all walks of life, every shape, every size, whatever that's there, and they're accepted because they're an athlete. Whether they're an elite athlete or whether they're an open athlete, they're just an athlete, and that's what I love about it. That's exactly what I love about it. Let's come back to a little bit about racing a little bit later on, because I want to talk about shaping OCR in a bit. But first of all, let's talk about you've launched Simply Be. So Simply Be is your little thing, and I've mentioned this to you. I love the phrase Simply Be. It is Simply Be. But not all of my listeners will have known about it, but I have mentioned it several times. What is it, and where did it come from? Tell me a bit about it.
So originally, back in the day, when I came out, I won't share my dead name because no one needs to know what I used to be called because it's irrelevant. It's not who I am. But I wasn't B when I came out. I was Bella. And just after I'd come out, my friend said, "Why don't you call yourself Bella? It's beautiful in Italian, which beautiful, like you spread your wings and come out sort of thing." So I said, "Well, I need a name, so that'll do." But people couldn't wrap their heads around it. So at work, on my pigeonhole, I just had the letter B, and that was it. And so I sort of worked things out. And then one day, my mum was driving home from work, and she passed a Simply Be lorry. She'd come home, she said, "Right, I've had an idea. People are phoning up saying his dead name / Bella there. Well, B is sort of in the middle. And B in America, people are calling their babies B, as in BEA, as a shortened version of Beatrice, but from birth. Why don't you call yourself B? It's a unique, unusual name. It's different. No one can accuse you of copying a friend's name or, whatever it is. And I think it'll suit you." So I said, "I quite like it." A week later, I'd done a deed poll, changed my driving license, changed my passport, and off I went. So I've been B ever since. I was talking to Shell, and I said to her, "In the community, I don't want to be known as the one with Tourette's. I don't want to be known as the one in the wheelchair. I don't want to be known as the autistic one or the ADHD one. I don't want to be known as the trans one. Yes, all of those labels apply to me. But first and foremost, I am B, the woman. Just like Shell is Shell and Charlie is Charlie and Sam is Sam." And she said, "So you just want to be Simply B?" And I was like, "Do you know something? Yeah, I should." In the mud community, we have mudder names like whatever, like I'm Carnage. I'm like, right, be a good mudder name for you, that wouldn't it? I said, "Well, actually, there's more to that than what you think." So I told her about, coming out and everything. She said, "It's just perfect, isn't it? Simply B, because you are simply just B before anything else." And I said, "Yeah, I am." So then I told Charlie and I told the crab chat, and it sort of went round. Everyone said, "It really fits. It suits you." And then next thing you know, I thought, right, I need a new Instagram handle, another Instagram, because I'm in talks with Mike Box in America, who makes wheelchairs by hand. He makes the most extreme wheelchairs in the world, like people like Aaron Wheels, who's in the Nitro Circus and hold world records for doing like 50-foot backflips in his wheelchair and landing them. He's going to make me a wheelchair once I've got the money somehow to get it. But he's going to make me a wheelchair. And I thought, well, he's making me part of Team Box and he's literally knocking thousands off the price to make it achievable for me to buy. I need a handle where I can share my adaptive athlete stuff, whether it be my adaptive mountain biking, whether it be Tough Mudder, any other OCR I do, anything I do adaptive, without it being attached to my regular Instagram handle where I've got things like Miss Transgender UK on there, my TED Talk stuff, all the stuff I've done in the past is attached to that. And I just wanted the community to see me as me without, having any ideas about who I used to be or anything else. Not that I'm ashamed of my past. I just want to be seen as me now. So that's where I made Simply Be Adaptive Athlete from. That's how it all came about, and it's just kind of stuck.
And what's this? So we've now got Simply Be. It's on. We've got Instagram. We've got social media. What is the goal with it? What is the aim? Is it to? Well, you tell me. I've got my own thoughts behind it, but maybe I'm completely wrong. But you tell me what is the goal behind it?
The goal really is it's not self-promotion. I mean, most social media accounts show off what you've done or whatever, but there's always a driving force behind it. I've not even got 100 followers on my Instagram. I can't wait to hit the magic 100 to get it going. But it doesn't matter to me because it's the right people that are following it. It's the community that are following it.
Yeah.
And my goal really is to show everyone that just because you're in a wheelchair, maybe you're transgender, maybe you're LGBTQ plus, maybe you are different in some way to what people consider the norm, it doesn't stop you achieving with the right team and the right people. I say that carefully because I don't want to encourage people to say to their friends, you're in a wheelchair, let's go and do a Tough Mudder, 6, 7 of us will take you round. If you don't know how to get someone in a wheelchair over obstacles safely to avoid injury, and you haven't done it before, you need to be careful doing that, because if I break a leg, I can't feel it. I can't tell you my leg, I'm hurt. So it has to be done carefully. There's got to be a certain amount of mentalness involved to do what we do anyway. And what sane person wants to go under barbed wire, climb 60 foot in the air? You know, there's certain madnesses to what we do.
Yeah.
However, there's still an element of safety involved. But I want to show people that it's possible. Your life doesn't have to be over because you're in a wheelchair. Your life doesn't have to be over in sport because you're transgender. Just because you're neurodiverse, it doesn't mean you can't be supported in the OCR world. Just like, you know, Tough Mudder Volunteers did a shout out for Anna and what she did for me that morning when I was volunteering. Anna and Shell and everyone were late for their wave, making sure I was settled before they left. That's what the community does for each other. And just because I'm safe with a team of volunteers, I don't know them. I don't like anyone pushing me in my wheelchair or being behind me in my wheelchair if they're not safe to me. I've got big trust issues with people who's in control of moving me. And I was petrified of just that morning being with a load of strangers and knowing that all my safe people were going to be out on course doing TM and I was going to be on my own. She wouldn't leave my side till I was okay. Simple things like making me a cup of tea and holding it for me because I was too ticky to hold it.
Mm.
You know, the little things like that people don't realize. By having an Instagram account that I can share these things on, hopefully will open up race organisers' eyes to be, I'm not saying more inclusive, but more adaptive in their inclusive way, because it's really good they welcome us in, but the little changes, like where accessible toilets are and little bits and pieces like that, I can help them adapt to be not just welcoming and inclusive, but realistically progressive as well. So my Instagram is to share the achievements that my team have helped me achieve. It's not about just me, it's about the people around me and making progressive change and hopefully showing other people that they can come and do it too. They can do what we do. It's not about me, it's about a community of adaptive athletes, because there isn't many wheelchair athletes. I'd love to see more. I'd love to see more wheelchairs at Tough Mudder, more wheelchairs in OCR in general.
We've talked about this off air, but we both like to see more adaptive athletes, full stop, in OCR. I'm probably going to jump a little bit of topics here because I did give you a little list of the topics, but I'm going to go to the last one a little bit here because we've spoke a little bit off air about how OCR and adaptive athletes need to meet is probably the word that I'd like to use, as in events and meet. Do you see what do you see? Do you see there's got to be a meeting of minds? Has it got to be a little bit of give and take? How do you see us going forward with getting more adaptive athletes? And I'm going to use the word adaptive instead of para, yeah, because to me, para is slightly different to adaptive. I'm going to use the word adaptive. How do we get more adaptive athletes into OCR?
Number one, I think things are already going well because we have, they're labeled para sections in the World Champs, for example. Yes, that's not really suitable for adaptive in wheelchairs, but at least we've got representation from amputees and, other members of the community. I'd like to see a split, not a split to divide us, but a split in recognition that wheelchair teams are very different to amputee teams and things, because if you watch the World Champs and you see the amazing para section, a lot of them are running as good as able-bodied. In fact, some of them would leave half the able-bodied community for dust the way they go here. But get a wheelchair team, and it's very different because I can't get round course on my own. So wheelchair teams would have to be a team entry as opposed to an individual entry, in my opinion. For me, it's about changing things ready for the community. So by putting things out there, we've got rules in place for wheelchair teams. That might encourage wheelchair teams say, oh, they're inclusive, we've got a shot at that. As opposed to, they've got nothing up. I don't think we'll be able to tackle that because they might not be brave enough to ask the question or know who to ask the question to. That's one way of improving the community. The other way of improving the community is by, there's a very fine line between making it a token gesture and doing it for the right reasons, but using media of adaptive athletes more often. I think the world of the OCR world, but when there is an achievement from someone in a wheelchair, you don't see much of it. But what you do see is videos of the most funny moments at obstacles or the most crazy moments of able-bodied people. There isn't as much coverage of those in wheelchairs that do. And that to me would, if we show communities that have never done an OCR before that this is possible because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in wheelchairs around the world or however many it is, if we show that off more, maybe it'll encourage other people in wheelchairs to join. But you've got to be careful. You don't do it in a way that's tokenistic. Like, look how we've had at our ratio. You don't want to use it as a token. It's got to be done in an inclusive way. Look at what this team did. Look at what can be achieved at our course with the right team. Look who we are welcoming on site today. But not over pushing it. There's got to be a balance. And I know that can be a hard thing for companies and race organizers to do. But working with those adaptive athletes as to how should we put this media out? Working with the people saying, is it okay if we do a piece on you? Sticking by it, and doing it in a timely manner. There's certain ways where it can be done.
So what I'm hearing here is that people like UKOCR, we need to step our game up. And I mean that in a positive sense, because we are in a position, and not just UKOCR, but a lot of media companies are in a position to share it without it being looked like a token gesture.
I guess, yeah. I mean, in reality, UKOCR are fantastic with inclusion on adaptive athletes from all walks of life, like myself, Jamie, you really do an amazing job. But there needs to be a little bit more out there. I've been waiting and waiting. This is not a knock at Tough Mudder whatsoever, but Tough Mudder staff asked me after doing Mudderhorn, they did some videos, can we do a piece on you? And I said, absolutely. Let's do it. I said, look, it's Pride Wave Day and I'm the former Miss Transgender UK. Use it to your advantage, Still to this day, I've never seen Tough Mudder do a single thing about it. And we're out of season now. And it's a real shame because they've done the Black Friday sales and everything else, but haven't really pushed and it doesn't matter if it's me or another wheelchair user. It doesn't matter who did it. They haven't pushed that a wheelchair user got over Mudderhorn for the first time in Europe. That could have encouraged other wheelchair users to take that Black Friday sale up while tickets were more affordable to us, because cost of living is higher to us adaptive people because of the extra things we have to do to get around. It could have meant someone could have seized that thinking we'll have a shot at that. And this is where I think those special moments, it's special when someone reaches 100 headband and it's shown off. It's special when someone does worlds and it's shown off, and absolutely rightly so. But included in the mix needs to be the achievements of people that are adaptive, because these milestones to us are so much bigger. As in, thousands of people a year do Mudderhorn, tens of thousands, but only one person in Europe's ever got over in a wheelchair.
Only 2 people in the world ever got over in a wheelchair, to my knowledge. And you're one of them. That makes it massive. in the world.
Yeah, and my heart beats for Tough Mudder. I love the values. I love the community. I don't need to tell you what Tough Mudder means to me. You know, my heart beats for Tough Mudder. I have big plans or dreams with Tough Mudder. But I think that those little moments, if they were shared more with Tough Mudder, like through them, that could potentially encourage more adaptive athletes. They're commissioning a wheelchair. Of course, they're doing all these amazing things, but no one's going to see any of this if they don't push it out. And
we're 12 months down the line, aren't we, from the wheelchair? I mean, we're 12 months down the line nearly from the wheelchair coming out, and we really not no further than what we were. I haven't seen. Has anyone tested one? Do you know if anyone's tested one?
A few people been out in it. Yeah, it has been. Okay. They did do a story when Ben went out in London on it because they all dressed as reindeers, and they did a piece about reindeers in whatever month it was, but that was kind of it. And I wish there was a bit more adaptive representation, you know, through the big events, because Tough Mudder is up there with one of the biggest. Their social media outreach is huge. I respect so much what they do as a company and their inclusivity. I don't know if they have a plan for it. It might be that they might have a plan to launch it in January, you know, as a promo thing or whatever. I don't know. And I don't want to speak bad of them for it, but with an ADHD autistic brain, I would have expected it before. And it kind of feels like that moment's been forgotten. It hasn't been forgotten by the community. I mean, look at this Buddy Award. It's like it's not been forgotten. Absolutely not been forgotten. I just kind of wish it had been done so I could use that to say, look, adaptive community, Tough Mudder are behind us.
How many people do you think who are in wheelchairs or adaptive or whatever want to do OCR? Because, you know, so let's just say if there was 1,000 normal athletes, I'll use the word no, I don't want to use the word no, 1,000 athletes, able-bodied, I use the word able-bodied athletes. Able-bodied athletes rocked up to events, and they know they can do that event. With the right promotion, how many adaptive athletes do you think a race could get?
It's a really tough one because for me, you know my story about Tough Mudder, I got asked and said, no way am I doing that.
Yeah.
But then comes things like High Rocks. I never considered one until last week, which has a story of its own behind it. Thanks to seeing another wheelchair user do it, you know, you could be looking at B doing High Rocks soon. That's the difference it makes. Like going on YouTube and seeing Jesse and other people in wheelchairs doing Tough Mudder, that gave me this burning fire in my heart that I wanted to do that. I want to achieve that. I want to get involved. I want to feel alive again like they do. If I can be that person to someone else, that makes my job complete as to what I'm doing. Because this is so much bigger than just me getting around a course. This is about inclusion for all and showing off that it's inclusion for all in OCR. I'm not sure if it'll be one person, two people, or three people, but at the minute, realistically, there's two of us in the UK that do OCR in wheelchairs that have done more than one. That's it.
Well, I'll give you my opinion, and whether people will take this pinch or leave it. The way I see it is we're currently, all the advertisement is purely for able-bodied people, you know, so therefore we get 1,000 able-bodied people. If we flipped that, and did 100% advertising for adaptive athletes, I would see 1,000 adaptive athletes doing it. So I think it does need, in some way, shape or form, a presence. I don't know how we're going to do this, you know, and maybe this was something, but we need a presence where adaptive athletes get to promote or get an outlet to promote what they can do. You know, currently you're doing it slightly with Simply Be. You know, you haven't got you've got a following. You're building it up. You know, people know you. People know Jamie. You know, those are the two big ones in the country. You know, Ben as well. People know Ben, but there isn't currently an outlet for you for people like yourself and the adaptive community to let the to let the world know there's an adaptive. We know them Facebook. There's an adaptive athletes community. We know there is one there, but it's a closed group. It's purely for adaptive athletes, and some of the posts I see coming out of there, because I do get screenshots of posts, are not very flattering to the able-bodied world, shall I say. Sometimes they're not even flattering to the adaptive athlete world, but that's a whole different story. It seems to be very much like whoever's running that group want adaptive athletes to progress, but they just don't know how to do it.
Yes, no, I agree. I have my opinions.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to give him all that. I'm giving my opinion.
I struggle with it. If I'm honest, I am struggling there, and if I'm honest, the best support I have had as an adaptive athlete is from Team Crab Hats, and then within that, literally like Anna, Shell, Charlie, and Sam are I've had more support from them than I have anywhere else, and they're all able-bodied, but they're all Team B support teams. So, yeah, we need inclusion. We need visual representation. It needs to happen. But my personal dream is I've got my own way of doing things. To try and change things slightly. I have my own goals for next year, which is not so much in the form of racing, but as soon as Tough Mudder ambassador applications are out, I'm going to apply.
Brilliant. It's fantastic. I like that. That's great.
I'm slightly under the threshold where it says 5 events. I've done 2 volley shifts and 2 TMs, so I'm 1 underneath. I'm so close. But thanks to you, podcasts, outreach, I've done radio interviews, I'm getting the brand out there. And I feel like if I got ambassador status, it will give me an easier way in to voice things to Tough Mudder. Like, I've already voiced to them about something so simple as an accessible portaloo. When I was volunteering at Northwest, I had to make a conscious decision that nobody should have to make. I was on the finish line, volunteering all day. I had 12 hours on the finish line. I can't control my bladder very well. Comes with paralysis in my legs. I get a little bit of feeling, but not enough. So I have to use protection. And I thought, I need the toilet. So pushed myself up the finish line, went to the little toilet area. There was one accessible portaloo, which someone had broken the handle on, so it was locked. And the guy came and opened it for me. I took my wheelchair in, and it was vile. It was muddy. It was wet everywhere. It was just a complete mess. I can't sort of hover or whatever like able-bodied people can. I have to transfer.
Yeah.
And it was so disgusting, I couldn't bring myself to. So I had to not use a toilet and make a conscious decision that I had to change instead.
Right.
I had to sit there and consciously do what I need to do and then change.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not dignity for anybody.
No, that's not at all, is it? No, yeah. I get that.
So I just, thanks to Shell, got in touch with Tough Mudder and said, it's not just me that would have this problem. If someone has a catheter bag or a stoma, they might need that extra room of an accessible portaloo to be able to stand and empty it or whatever in a cleaner environment, because there's more than just wheelchairs I'm thinking of here. Can we have in the volunteer area, instead of it being a regular portaloo, which is kept clean and nice because it's for the volunteers and staff, can you make it an accessible one? At least then, even a spectator can go to the info stand and say, have you got an accessible toilet? Yes, we have. We'll just take you around here, and it's clean and it's dignified. That one little change will make a massive difference to anyone that needs it at a TM event. I'm so grateful for TM for listening and saying thank you for the suggestion. We didn't realise. If no one tells them, they will never know, because if they're not in that position, they won't realise. And for me to reach, if they did accept me as an ambassador, it means that I could try and change things for the wider adaptive community and show off Tough Mudder for what it is, which is the most accepting, positive, incredible community. It's an amazing. At the end of the day, Tough Mudder is a business.
Yeah.
But it's a business that cares. It's a business and a brand that encourages community. It encourages well-being. It encourages positiveness. It encourages people achieving their dreams and celebrating it. And that doesn't matter what you look like, what size you are, what disability or ability you've got. Doesn't matter whether you're trans, LGBTQ plus at all, whether you're BAME or white. It just encompasses everything and everyone to go and achieve together. And if I could just make the tiniest bit of difference to encourage more adaptive people to come to Tough Mudder and experience what I've experienced, and also help Tough Mudder improve what they've already got to be even better, that would be a dream come true, because that's my way of giving back to the community what they've given to me already. So that's my first thing that I want to do to try and change things. But I don't know. I've got as much chance as anyone else as having an ambassador thing. I don't know if they'll take me. I don't know. I might not be enough for them. I hope I am, but whoever knows. The next thing is I want to do the technical official course with British Obstacle Sports in January.
Right.
As far as we're aware on the ground, British Obstacle Sports haven't got any technical officials in wheelchairs. I want to change that. I want to show the community that it's not a barrier.
Yeah.
That means I can work closely with British Obstacle Sports, helping them be open to ideas. I know they're already open to ideas because they're a fantastic, what would you call it, body for the sport or whatever it is.
National governing body, yeah.
Thank you. That's the word. They're already fantastic as they are, but to be there as a technical official, encouraging other athletes to keep going, to help volunteer at events, but help not just volunteering, but help them make that event happen if they're short on TOs. Again, it'll show people that anything is possible. And there's one thing I want to do is give back to the community what it gives me. So I want to become a TO for British Obstacle Sports.
I think that's a great idea. I know at the AGM very recently, I sat all the way through it, well, not quite all the way through it. And I think one of the things was for them to move forward now with a full application for national governing body. There was something about inclusivity and things like that. And they currently weren't at a green stage. So, yeah, I think absolutely whatever stage you're involved in, it's going to just help it that little bit further.
I really hope so, because I would hate for anybody in this world to be disabled but still capable. When I say that, there are some people in chairs that just cannot do this kind of event. You know, we've all got varying levels of disability. And there are some people that it's painful and effort to even get up and down the stairs in the morning. I'm not saying that they can come and do a Tough Mudder or should be doing, but there are a lot of people out there that could, like the people I go adaptive mountain biking with, experienced community, very capable people. Most of us have got good cores and good strength to be out doing mountain bike trails on hand bikes and mountain bikes. There are communities out there that can and would potentially get involved in OCR, and the way Nuclear, Tough Mudder, like yourselves and other people are all working with British Obstacle Sports to take this forward. It would be a privilege to be involved in some of that, to give honest, balanced opinion and feedback, because I would never ask for special treatment, but I would ask for equal treatment. Yeah. And there's a difference. I would never like to think I ask for special treatment ever, but sometimes reasonable adjustments can appear like special treatment, but actually without those reasonable adjustments, some people wouldn't be able to turn up. So it's just about equality, but inequality in a balanced way, I would say.
I get that. No, I 100% get that. You're quite right. I speak to a lot of race directors, and we do talk about adaptive athletes. There's a big movement behind the scenes of trying to get more and more adaptive athletes into the sport. And that's from both ends of the spectrum, from, amputees like Jamie, who's very close to being able-bodied. He's got a lot of things to someone like yourself who is in a wheelchair, and there's a whole spectrum of the. Is spectrum a bad word? I don't know if spectrum is a bad word. Is that a bad word?
I wouldn't say so, because with varying disability, it's just varying disability at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say. But I didn't know if it was going to come across wrong there. With varying disabilities, it's where do you stop, or do you stop? Speaking to a race this last weekend, as in, and I'll say what it is. We were talking to Norman at Beach Ballistic, and he was saying he would love to have adaptive athletes at his event. However, it's on sand. It's nigh on impossible. And he did actually say it would be impossible to get one round in a wheelchair because of it's on sand. It's 11 kilometers on sand. It is.
There is actually a beach wheelchair.
Right.
It's got huge tires, massive. I mean, I'm talking like Formula One width tires.
Right.
Big 3 wheels on this massive frame. They're not cheap. You can get beach wheelchairs. However, it's how far do you go? I do OCR. I'm getting a chair made. It's extortionate. It's able-bodied people can buy even go in an old pair of trainers and run. I need a lot of specialist equipment, harnesses, ropes, wheelchair. There is a massive cost to this when you are adaptive in a wheelchair. Massive cost. OCR is expensive anyway, but when you get to needing a wheelchair, it becomes astronomical. And there's hidden costs that people don't think of. Like, most people can car share.
Yeah.
I can't when I've got my seats down, when I've got my off-road wheelchair in the back, my day chair in the front to transfer into, my bags. I can't car share. So I'm doing all these journeys on my own, where someone else could have 3 people in the car, splitting the fuel 3 ways. So OCR ramps up so much more when you're in a wheelchair for reasons people don't think of.
Yeah.
I can't jump on the train across the country with 2 wheelchairs on my own.
Yeah.
I'd have to book 2 wheelchair spaces if there is any. It's that logistically, OCR becomes difficult as it is in a wheelchair. So for a beach run, it would be possible, I think, but it would be massive effort on the team.
Yeah.
And like you say, how far do you go? I don't want an OCR to change their course, an everyday course for a wheelchair. Because if you've got 10,000 people at a course, only one in a wheelchair, you don't change it for the one in the wheelchair to impact the 999 other people. But that little change, like an accessible Portaloo, kept safe, that's achievable. British obstacle sports, which I know they will, and Tough Mudder saying to me when I do my first Infinity next year, what do you need? Well, you can't do walk this way, you can't do twinkle toes, you can't do Texas Hold'em because I can't walk. So what we'll do is we'll give you wristbands. You don't have to do a penalty. Why should we penalise you over something you cannot do? Here's your extra bands for them. That's inclusion.
Yeah.
That's allowing me to do a competitive event. I can't comment on where I want things to go with that in terms of milestones because I don't know what they're doing yet. They haven't released it. At World's Toughest, if you're in a wheelchair, you're adaptive, your goal for a bib is 25 miles. If you're able-bodied, it's 50, 75 and 100. Well, at Infinity and ETM, there isn't any adaptive goals as we've seen yet.
Yeah.
I would like to see a reduced mileage so an adaptive athlete can achieve a milestone just the same as an able-bodied, just to make it even across the board like it is at Worlds. But I don't know how they would do that. It'd need a lot of discussion. And like I say, we don't know what's happening with it yet. So it's not fair for me to ask something when we don't know what's going on. There are little changes like that is all we need to make things incredible. They're not massive changes, but those little changes will make a big difference.
Definitely. I think we'll leave that there at that point. Let's talk about what's happening next year, because I know 2024 is a big year. Well, it's going to be big. I think 2025 is probably going to be bigger, but 2024, let's talk 2024 first.
2024, we've got Overload.
Yay!
I am so excited. So excited for Overload. So Overload, obviously multiple Tough Mudders.
Yeah.
As long as the distance is achievable, then I'm doing my first Infinity.
Where are you going to do Infinity at? Have you
Gonna be
decided yet?
Midlands for definite.
Cool.
Northwest has a special place because it was my first ever TM. It's also where my first ever volley shift was. It's Northwest has a place in my heart, but it's so late in the year, it's so cold. I struggle with temperature regulation, particularly with lack of circulation in my legs. So late on in the year to be out in the cold and doing things like Arctic Enema and even just things like Block Nest, getting wet and being in the cold, doing multiple laps would be maybe too much for my temperature regulation. We don't know yet. So we're going to try it at Midlands for that reason early in the year. I want to do a nuclear, but Mother Mum has put the brakes on that till she's done one because she needs to test the water.
And she just needs to test the water as well, because that is the key to it over there. I've got visions of you going down Death Slide, attached to Chris at one side and Michelle at the other, and like landing in that water and then lifting you to the top. It's yeah.
I mean, it'd be interesting. I can swim, so swimming isn't an issue. It's just how to get me around things the other end. Like we're still trying to work out how we're going to get me through sewer at Northwest, because I've said I am doing it one day. I want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to experience it. But how do you get me through that if it's thick and gloopy? How do we do it? There's a will, there's a way, and we're going to do it. We've had some really crazy ideas, but we're going to do it. I want to do a nuclear. Tough Mudder is where my heart is, though. That's where sort of my main career progression in OCR lays, if you like, my headband climbing. But like I said, I want to become a TO for British Obstacle Sports. My dream is to be an ambassador for TM, to do all this as an ambassador, because I'll be the first person doing Infinity under the new adaptive rules that have been properly set at last. I'll be the first person in a wheelchair to be doing it under regulation adaptive athlete rules. So that's exciting because I get to test the rules out and then say this worked, this didn't. To be able to work with maybe James or Becky or someone in BOS and help shape the future of this would be a dream, because they're doing such an amazing job. I just want to help them, like be part of it in some way, even a little way, because maybe that'll encourage more of the community, like we were saying.
What about, I've got one for you. I'm looking at my board here, 29th of June, because I'm looking at dates. In the Midlands, there's also another little race going off where I know that you could go and potentially even podium.
Okay.
What about the British Champs para category? Because we didn't have no women running it this year. You could be one of the first women to ever run in the British Champs para category.
Have they got rules for wheelchair athletes, though? Because it'd have to be a team entry, wouldn't it?
Well, they've got rules, and they want to. British Obstacle Sports want to encompass everyone, so I'm sure that they would have rules on that day if they had someone like yourself or another person in a wheelchair, man or woman, come along and take part in it.
Do you know what, Alan? I will, or you can, between us, consult with Mother. And if she
I've dropped this on you now. The listeners don't even know. I've just dropped this on you now, haven't I? The people don't know this. And you're like, gobsmacked.
Do it, then let's do it. I mean, she's always said that one day there's going to be a day where she's not there for a race because of location or whatever. I've already got my two backups, like emotional support, Sam, who is now grown a bigger title. She is now emotional support mother sister, Sam. Things are ever evolving. But she's said that if Shell isn't ever there, she would do what Shell does and advocate for me. If something's hurting and I go non-verbal, then she would shout for me. She can read my body language, and she knows when I need help and I can't vocalize it or I'm too scared to. Because it sounds now like I would always be able to voice it, but honestly, a lot of our people won't have seen me non-verbal before, but my close people have. And or if I get too ticky and can't speak, for example. So I've got people in the community that would go with me. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, yeah.
This is your worst nightmare, me dropping this on you. I know it is, and you've handled it really well. I'm like,
I mean, honestly, it's crazy. I mean, high rocks,
yeah,
high rocks. I never thought of doing a high rocks, and this is something that I'd like. If anyone hears this and they've got a friend in a wheelchair or someone that's isolated, to hear this and what I'm saying, because it flipped me. It helped me so much. Shell messaged me and said, with a picture of someone in a wheelchair that's just done high rocks, and she said, "Do you want to do high rocks doubles females with me?"
oh wow,
I said, "What? It's just been done. I know you'll want to do it, but I'd like to do it with you." And she said, "I'm doing it in January solo. If it doesn't kill me later in the year, if we can get a ticket, because tickets are hard to come by for high rocks, as we know,
yeah,
I'd like to do it with you as a duo." Now, that might not sound a lot. A friend has asked me to do a race, but there's something key here, which you've just done to me, which is a bit overwhelming. And as well, you've just done exactly what Shell did. Normally, it's me saying to my team, "Can we do infinity? Can we do?" I'm asking my team, "Can you get me round this?" I'm the one asking of other people, and that's where the guilt comes and where it's hard. But when someone says to me, like Shell did, "Would you like to do it with me?" That takes away the guilt and it makes me feel equal.
yeah, I get that.
That's what was so
You are
special.
equal. You are our equal.
You say that, but internally, when you have to do the asking for help all the time, it it feels like a big ask on a community when you're always asking for help.
Well, I'm offering, if you do the British champs, I'm saying I'm offering my services to your team.
Really?
There you go. That's live here. I won't back down from that.
That thank you.
So you got one person signed up for it.
You can't make me cry in a podcast, Alan. Oh wow.
I will ensure that both the whole of UKOCR team, we will all sign up for it with you. I'll speak on behalf of them all. I'm sure we would all sign up, but definitely.
Wow.
We'd love to help you get round, and it would be good though. It would be good if we could get 2 or 3. So yourself, maybe Ben, and maybe one other wheelchair athletes. So we can have a proper race.
Yeah.
As such.
I mean, you know what just rings to me in that? You say the UKOCR team, I get to meet Ian and Becky. I mean, that's we've never met face to face, and that's a dream as well. But be a dream. I'm desperate to meet Becky. I listened to her, on Who's Hot with Will, and I met Will, and he's a legend. Every time I see him, it's like, oh my god, it's Will, and he knows my name. But Becky, I am so desperate to meet. James Burton, desperate to meet. There's Giles and the Tough Mudder team. There's so many people in this community. And I think this is where I say to you, I'm kind of dipping my toe into the community, but I haven't met these key, amazing people yet. Tamar, I dropped a message on Instagram just saying hello, and the message response I got saying we're equal. I might be elite, but we're all OCR runners. I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Tamar just messaged me back. Like, wow. It's a bit overwhelming to me. In most sporting legends you would never meet. Like, if you're a marathon runner, meeting Mo Farah would be huge, and meeting Usain Bolt would be huge. Most sports, the big names you would never meet. You might see, but never meet. In this sport, the big names here, there, and everywhere, it feels too far out of reach. But in reality, it probably isn't. I don't know. If I met people like James Burton and Becky and seeing you face to face and other people, I don't want to exclude names, but my brain's just going to mush at the minute. I'd almost be starstruck meeting you in person because I've got so much respect for each and every one of you.
Thank you. We all appreciate it, but we are just normal people, just like you are. We are just here to enjoy ourselves and everything else. And as my old man said, we all go to the toilet, even the Queen. God bless him. Yeah,
I like that.
So we've got Tough Mudder. Let's go back to it. Tough Mudder. We're going to do a High Rocks, hopefully, Michelle.
Yeah.
We've got what about ETM? Because I know we've talked about ETM.
Yeah.
This is on the agenda.
It is. We're looking at 2025 because Yorkshire.
Yeah.
I was flipped out my chair in the daylight in Yorkshire because of the camber and the hills. Doing ETM in the dark, it's not safe. Yorkshire is not safe in the dark for a chair. It's a safety thing. It's not. It's also an energy thing. It's the hills are worse than the obstacles. That's how bad it was. Provided 2025 ETM is on a flatter course. I'm not asking for completely flat. I'm just asking for hills that are not nearly vertical with camber that's enough to tip you out your chair, you know? If ETM is at a flatter course that's safer for a wheelchair, then the whole reason we're doing Infinity this year is to test my endurance and what my body can take. ETM would be different in the cold to say Northwest Infinity because at night I'd be wetsuited up and I would be prepared for the cold. Where doing an Infinity in the day, you don't go to the same lengths as you do for an ETM. But this year is practice for 2025 ETM. That's the idea. That's the dream.
And is ETM 2025 practice for WTM 2026?
ETM 2025 is practice for see how much it breaks me. World Toughest is a dream. I've had an offer from Jessie that her team would get me round if I couldn't fly all of my team out there. Yeah. I've had an offer from Joey at More Hearts and Scars that they would get me round World Toughest as well. I already have allies in America that I've never met that want to take me round World's Toughest, which is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. I sent a note out. I sent Charlie out there with some little post-it note, cards, and I hand wrote everyone just saying, whoever you are, whatever you do, I can't remember what they said. Basically that whatever your goal is, I hope you hit it. Just by being out there at Worlds, you're an inspiration to me. I hope this keeps you going if you're struggling. Sending love from Simply Be Adaptive Athlete, Team Crabs. And I attached 2 little bags of Haribo to each one. Oh. The idea being, if it was 2, 3 a.m. and they were hitting that wall, they could just have a little tiny note to read fast and a little pick-me-up to keep going. And there's a reason behind Haribo. When I did Yorkshire, there was flapjacks at the feed and water stations, but I don't eat flapjack because of texture. It's a texture nightmare to me. I didn't have any food all the way round. When we got to Cage Crawl, Zoe was there and she said, B, got a bag of Haribo. It saved me. That little sugar pick-me-up saved me. Yeah. So it was special to me to send that out there for their pick-me-up. Charlie gave them out to people. And one of the teams she gave my notes to was More Hearts and Scars and the wheelchair athlete.
Oh, awesome.
And Joey from More Hearts and Scars found me on Instagram and messaged me thanking me. And we've had a conversation and he said if ever I'm over there at World's Toughest, they'll support me or even come out with me. And I'm just blown away that legends like More Hearts and Scars have even noticed me. It's mental, but honestly, America, it's just the sheer cost of getting over there, getting my wheelchairs over there, because I don't know how you fly with 2 wheelchairs. I'd have my day chair and I'd have my OCR chair when it's built. How I would fly over there with 2 chairs and afford to do it, I don't know if it'll ever happen. But it would be a dream to go out there and meet Jessie, meet Jessie's team, meet More Hearts and Scars, and achieve that 25-mile bib would be.
Maybe if Mohammed, or in this case B, can't go to the mountain, maybe we need to do something to fetch the mountain to B, and we petition for Tough Mudder WTM to be in Europe or in England.
I mean, that would be crazy. I understand the marketing though. The community for World's Toughest you're looking at is 70-80% Americans. Yeah. Team GB out there and Team Germany and whatever, the people from different countries are in the minority compared to the Americans competing. It's you've got to go where the money is with a brand, because TM have already been in administration once. We don't want to ever see that happen again. The quality of their obstacles and events they put on must come at an astronomical cost.
Yeah.
Transporting them, getting them there, safety checking them, having them built. I dread to think what Mudderhorn cost to make, and then to transport it. Wow. So I understand why ticket prices are the way they are. I understand that to put on a quality event, they need to bring the revenue in. To put on a massive event like WTM and what it is and how it's staffed, it's got to be where most people are going to buy tickets. The only downside is, of course, little old me, that puts it out of reach for, I guess. But one day you never know what's going to happen. You just never know what's around the corner, do you?
No.
You just don't. My main goal at the minute is try and find money to get my wheelchair so I can even get on the course next year. Because without that, I'm not going anywhere. But where there's a will, there's a way.
I'm sure you'll get there, B. I'm sure
I'm going to get there somehow. Where I've not failed at much yet. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get there, and hopefully, along the way, inspire others to do the same. That's the dream. It's not. I don't want it just to be the one that's smashing OCRs in a wheelchair. I want it to be other people as well, and I want to be one of those people as opposed to the one doing it. If that makes sense. At Overload, I'll be your first ever wheelchair around the course, and it's a privilege to be able to do that. It's an honor to be welcomed the way I have to your event. But
even more at Overload, we're going to tie people up so they can't move their legs and take them over obstacles. We're going to give them a taste of what it's like for you, aren't we? That's the whole plan.
That you're going above and beyond, and it's amazing. But I just hope one day that I'm not the woman in the wheelchair that did Overload. I am one of the people in a wheelchair that did Overload.
Yes.
That's the goal from all of this. It's yes, I'm achieving for me and my team, but there's a wider picture here, and that's inclusivity for a community and encouragement for a community.
Very much so. Very much. B, we are going to leave it there because I think that's a great spot to leave it. And I'm going to get you back on because we have some great conversations, even off there. So thank you for coming on to UKOCR podcast again.
Thank you.
Fuck
off! Sorry.
What a way to say goodbye to me. I love it.
Thank you for having me, Alan. Second time is incredible. And yeah, just if I can, massive shout out to Team Crabs as always. Massive shout out to you all at UKOCR. Massive shout out to British Obstacle Sports, their AGM, and the way they answered my question at the end. Phenomenal inclusion. And a big shout out to all my mother family, because without them, I don't know if I'd be able to think about next year the way I am. And just thank you to whoever got me to the finals of OCR Buddy, to have my name up there with people like Andy Ryan and Libby and Chris Gowalski, Roski, yeah. To have
Tommy Matthews from the UK is in there as well.
Like, there's all these big name, More Hearts and Scars is up there. These massive inspirational names. Mine's up there with them, and that is mind blowing. So thank you to whoever's got me there, because you have no idea what it means to me. Like, no idea at all.
Welcome.